participants. Good morning to all, and I welcome you in this webinar. Now, it is my privilege to introduce our honorable speaker, the Professor B.S. Murthy sir. Yes, sir, we will try to make it as a small, but you have so many things there, but we'll try to make very brief. As Professor B.S. Murthy is presently the director of IIT Hyderabad since 2019. He started his journey as a diploma in metallurgy, and then after that he has completed his bachelor from the presently the VNIT Nagpur, then his PhD from the IIC Bangalore. Then after that, as he has been serving in the IIT Kharagpur for almost 12 years, so he could catch up some of the Bengali, so that's why he spoke with our in the Bengali. Thank you very much, sir. Then after that, he now from after IIT Kharagpur, he joined to the IIT Madras for almost 15 years. Then before he took up the directorship of the IIT Hyderabad, he is also the institute professor and the Giriza and the Muralidharan chair professor at the IIT Madras. He is also the adjunct professor at the School of Engineering, University of British Columbia, California, and Canada since 2016. He has authored several journal publications, more than 440, and then 4 books, and he has supervised lots of PhD scholar, and still he is also guiding 16 numbers is still going on, and he has completed almost 65 sponsored projects and is still handling around 8 projects, and he filed more than 20 patents. And he is also the numerous recipients of the various awards, like I will take a few of the name: Santi Swarab Bhatnagar Award 2007, J.C. Bose Fellowship Award, Distinguished Alumnus Award of IIC Bangalore, INAE Outstanding Teachers Award, the Professor of the Extraordinaries from the University of South Africa, Honorary Doctorate from the Deccan University, Australia, and the various Lifetime Achievement, Birla Gold Medal Award, Eminent Material Awards, and the Distinguished Alumni Award of the VNIT. And not only this one, he also received the various Young Scientist Award from the different agencies, and he is also a fellow of the World Academy of Science, Asia Pacific Academy of Material, ASM International, Indian National Academy of Engineers, Indian National Science Academy, Indian Academy of Sciences, National Academy of Sciences, Electron Microscopy Societies of Indian, and Indian Institute of Metals. And he also received the Andhra Pradesh Academy of Sciences. Not only to this one, in his credit, there are several others are there. Is the Honorable Speaker Murthy sir has requested to make it small with this small introduction. Now I request our Honorable Speaker, the Professor B.S. Murthy sir, to kindly start your talks on the essential integrate in pursuing excellence. I hope, yes, sir, it will be very interesting. I remember those 2014, your talks and your demonstration, which was very much elaborate and highly knowledgeable talks. So thank you, sir. Please, now it's your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lolit. And he really did not go by my word. So the nano became a micro or a macro. But anyway. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, thanks to Professor Rao for the invitation. I should have physically come. It's always good to be physically interacting with people.
And after January, we will call you, sir.
Hopefully,
January,
one day we will plan one day.
Yes, sir, because the COVID little bit high in Mizoram.
I know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Still, there are places where people are all struggling. I hope let us all come out soon. At IIT Hyderabad, we have 50% of our students on the campus right now. We have about 3,000 students. Out of them, about 1,500 are on campus. The remaining, we are planning to bring them in December. We are planning to start an offline semester, completely offline semester next semester from January 3rd. So let's hope everything goes well. So coming back to this particular topic, I thought, let me, hoping that there are quite a number of youngsters in this particular group. I see a number of names, but I obviously I do not know their age groups. But let's hope there are quite a number of youngsters who are willing to dream, willing to pursue excellence. And that's the basic motive of trying to meet all of you in an online mode and talk about this particular topic, which I thought may be appropriate for students of young students. I mean, to be honest with you, age is only a number. I strongly believe in that. I meet so many who are 80 years old and things like that, who are so energetic that they almost look like they are 25-year-old when you talk in terms of their energy levels. So it's not the question of young or old, but what is important is a person should have this dream of pursuing excellence and perseverance to pursue the excellence. That's something which I thought I should see if I can convey a part of that idea to all of you. So I do not know. Let me see. Maybe there are a few who are doing at the BSc level, and many of these students who join IIT at the age of 17, 18. I always ask them this question: what do you want to be 20 years down the line? Okay, is that clear to you? Unfortunately, most of the students who join IITs and they start actually preparing from 8th grade onwards. Many a times, at least I come from a state called Andhra Pradesh, and right now I'm in a place called Telangana. At least these two particular states, which was together as one single state at some point of time, and most of the students in these particular two states aspire for either becoming an engineer or becoming a medical doctor. It appears that in life there is nothing else that is left out to be pursued. I always say in life it's like our body. In a body, every organ has its own importance. Okay, if one organ does not work well, we know how much the body suffers. Okay, even if it is a small organ. Okay, but somehow people keep thinking everything in terms of possibly what we think is job market. I strongly believe what is more important is whether what you do is satisfying to you or not. I always tell to my students one thing, that you should select a job or select a profession where you don't wait for a Saturday, Sunday, I tell them. Okay. On a Sunday night, if you are worried that tomorrow is a Monday, that you have to go to office and do some routine things that you have been doing, obviously you are not in the right job. Okay. If you can identify what is that job where every day you are excited. Okay. That is something which is something everybody in principle should pursue. And when you pursue something which you like, the best out of you always comes out. Okay, just to tell you, when I was just finishing my BTech at REC Nagpur, I had a clarity in my mind that I want to be a teacher one day. And that's what exactly I did when I went and asked in the final year of my BTech to one of my most favorite teacher. And in fact, it is he who made me interested in teaching, one gentleman by name Professor A.V. Ramarao. And I asked him, sir, what should I do to become a teacher like you? So immediately he said, Murthy, you should do a PhD. And PhD, because PhD broadens you up, and then you start, broadening your perspective and broadening your horizons. I always tell to people, nowadays, most of the PhD students do what is called a keyword search. They want to work in a particular area. They simply go to Scoopers or somewhere, or Science Direct, or even Google, and simply put a keyword and try to search what are the articles that are exactly in that particular field. We always say that a scientist's knowledge or a researcher's knowledge should not be a delta function. Okay, but it should be more like a Boltzmann's function. Okay, in mathematics, you know a little bit of Boltzmann's function and delta function. Boltzmann function never goes to zero anywhere. Okay, so you should have a peak in the field in which you are working, but at the same time, you have a broader knowledge in a number of other fields which are surrounding that. so that you don't know when you need a particular knowledge to be used for in your own career. So as a result, it is important to learn many things. When we were PhD students, I can tell you that we never had the luxury of internet. To be honest with you, possibly we just started using email towards possibly my final year of my PhD or so, around 90 or so. All these things came in a big way. My PhD was 88 to 92. So those days we used to go to library every Friday. In the library, our the journals, latest journals, used to be replaced with the new journals that have arrived in that particular week. And Friday night we were in the library and trying to open and read the whole contents and see are there any articles which are interesting to us by looking at the title of the article. In fact, all my PhD students, I have been suggesting the same. The moment they join me within first 1 week of my interaction with them, I tell them, identify 10 best journals which are in your field. And then every day, every week, okay, one day you fix a time and go to that particular journal, open the latest issue and look at that table of contents, just only the table of contents. Okay, and you may see suddenly a very interesting paper which may not be exactly on the topic in which you want to work, but something connected to your overall field of the branch of study that you are doing. And pick up that particular article, spend some time in reading it, and you will actually open up much more than simply going by a keyword search. I have significantly got benefited by this, and I have always been telling my students to do that. But coming back to this particular point where we started, that what is a goal of someone? Okay, many of these students who prepare for JEE, for them JEE is the goal. Getting into IIT is the goal. Okay, and yesterday was the orientation program for the new batch of BTech students who joined IIT Hyderabad, and I was telling them the same at that point of time that IIT should be a means to a goal rather than goal in itself. Once it is a goal for you, once you join, the goal is fulfilled. Then what else? People tend to try to relax a little bit because 5 years I have struggled to prepare for JEE from 8th grade onwards. And let me relax a little bit. And once you relax, you know that possibly in one of the courses you get a poor grade or even a fail grade. And once that happens, the whole vicious circle of a depression starts among the students. Okay, and instead, if you say that this is the beginning of my journey rather than the end of my journey, okay, entering into an IIT should be a beginning of a journey. Entering into a university should be beginning of your journey to pursue something which you want to pursue as your dream. There's a great scholar by name of Abdul Kalam, the missile man that we all talk about. A wonderful book, one book that he has written. I do not know how many of you have read that book. Today, please note down this name called Ignited Minds. It's a very small book. Many school-going children, I used to buy this book and used to give it to them and ask them to read. That's a book I feel every student at whatever age you are in should read that book. In that book, he talks about that everybody should dream, and dreams should be as colorful as possible, is what he says. Okay, and this is very essential. Okay, I had that dream at my BTech level that I should become one of the best teachers, in my field, and I tried my best. Possibly to some extent, I must have achieved that. I mean, of course, all of us contribute in a nano way, I would say. When somebody asked a great scientist by the name Newton, whom we all know, asking how is that you have been able to achieve so many great things, he mentioned a very profound statement, which always stayed in my mind when I read it from my undergraduate days. And he said that I am standing on the shoulders of the giants who have come before me, and hence I'm able to see far off. That's exactly what most of us actually do. Every one of us add a small delta x, and then feel happy with that delta x. As long as you mm, keep a goal, a motto of satisfying yourself as a main motto rather than satisfying somebody else. Majority of people who are into a particular job, they work either for their promotions or to please their bosses. Okay, I say that that may give you some promotion and some money, but what is more important is whether you are satisfying yourself or not. Every one of us are a creation from this nature, and the nature is so excellent. If you look at the nature, there is so much of perfection when you look at everywhere around you. Okay, the flowers that you see, and even the planetary motions that you see, there is so much of excellence in that creation. Mm. And if we are something that has come out of that nature, forget about whether you are a believer of God or not. It doesn't matter. As long as you believe that you have come from this nature, okay, you are a symbol of that excellence. And your whole goal in life should be to ensure that that excellence is brought out of you. Okay, I always say this, even if I sweep my house, I would ensure that the best out of me comes out. When you try to work to please yourself, you would always try to see how best I can do, rather than comparing yourself with anybody else. I remember when my children were very young, they used to come to me and say, Papa, I got this much marks in this subject, and my friend has got this much. Okay, I used to tell them that what is important is, are you satisfied with the marks that you have received, or you want to grow further? Okay, Uh, and when you want to grow further, sky is the limit, right? Uh, and infinite is something which nothing which cannot be defined. So if you can keep that as your motto of excellence, rather than becoming better than somebody. Yeah, I always say this: comparison kills you, because either you feel superior to somebody or you feel inferior to somebody. Both of these are not good for a growth of a person. Okay, every one of us is unique, and we should try to see how to make best use of my potential. And once you start setting a goal that I am the competitor for myself, nobody else. Okay, and if you start trying to see how do I pursue that excellence, and try to ensure that I want to become something. Okay, and this is something. If you set that at the early stage, it's like having a goal post in a football game. If there is no goal post, you don't know where to hit the ball. And just because the goal post is there, that is not sufficient. You need to persevere. You need to work hard towards. If you look at any great personality, whichever field it could be music, it could be sports, it could be even politics, it could be science. All of them have something in common. They all have a passion for what they do, and all of them work very hard. Okay, for them, only that becomes important, nothing else. I used to tell my PhD students that there has to be three qualities for a person to be called as a good researcher. I think this applies for every age group, possibly. One, I would say that you should be able to go for a cup of coffee with your friend and talk about only research, nothing else. Okay, nothing else comes to your mind. not a new movie that has come, or not a new gadget that has come into the market. But what comes out in your mind is always the research that you are trying to do. And I want to share that with someone else and possibly exchange ideas while discussing. Second, you should be able to go to bed thinking about the research that you are doing. That means from the morning to the night, your mind is on that research. And the third and the most important in my view is you should be able to catch hold of a 12th grade student and make the student excited about what you are doing. This is very important for somebody to be called as a researcher. I feel if you are not excited about what you are doing, you can never make anybody excited about what you are doing. I can at least vouch for myself that I don't feel like even sleeping. I usually sleep for 4 to 5 hours a day because there's so much to learn every day. There's so much new thing that you learn every day. Every night you should ask you, what did I learn today? What is a new thing that I have learned today? And to that extent, I say, not only in research, every person whom you meet in life, we learn something. I say we learn either how to be or how not to be. Both are important lessons in life. So there is no point in feeling bad that I've met somebody, whom I didn't like. Fine. You have understood what you should not be. Even that is an important lesson in life. And that's the reason why all my research scholars, I used to insist on exchanging what they keep doing. For example, if I take the researchers who are sitting in this particular audience, I always say, unless you have very strong fundamentals, we will never become a good researcher. And that's the reason why in my group, we always used to have every week what is called a fundamental talks. And we ensure that one of our students goes to a blackboard and teaches on the blackboard some concept which is of importance to the whole group. And when you actually try to teach, you understand how much you don't know, how much you have not understood. This is a very interesting thing. And only people who taught will know about it. And I used to do this. When I was in third year BTech, I used to teach the second years. When I was in final year BTech, I used to teach the third years, and so on and so forth. When we were PhD students, actually, every night, 10 o'clock, we were in front of the blackboard in our lab, ISC, Bangalore Material Science Department, Metallurgy Department. We used to have a wonderful group. We used to call it a Sigma Tau group because my professor, Professor Ranganathan, was very famous for two contributions of him. One is what is called the grain boundary structure, that a grain boundary in materials, people think that it is amorphous, but there can be a structure for it. And he brought out a new concept called coincident site lattice. And there is a term called what is called sigma, which is used. And many people who are in that field know. I do not want to go into the details of that. And the second one, where he worked and most of us, his students work, was something called quasi-crystals. Okay, there is a term called tau, which is called golden mean, that comes when you talk about the quasi-crystals, and that's how we named our group as Sigma Tau group. And that whole group, about 10-15 students, we all used to be in front of the board every night, and we used to wait for the 10 o'clock. We all stop our work, and one of us go to the board and teach us something. And everybody, brainstorms on that particular topic. And then there's a lot that we used to learn from each other. And this is something which I at least practice in my group very strongly. And I would request all those who are sitting in this to try that out. That would really, because after all, PhD is nothing but a training. Okay, training of how to plan research, how to execute research, how to communicate that research both in the written form and oral form, and how to make the research which is of a extremely high quality. And to make that research extremely of high quality, what is essential is your fundamentals. If your fundamentals are not very strong, you can never become a great researcher. So focus. I used to tell in my group that 2 days a week, stop all experiments and just read textbooks for 1 day, maybe read the journals of the latest research that is happening on the other day. And this is something which we used to meticulously follow in our group. And I am sure that must have helped most of our students, and they are all in some good positions here and there. So this is something which is very essential, that perseverance, okay, is crucial, and having a passion for what you do is also very crucial. And with these two ingredients, uh, and the joy of doing it will really take you a great way. And these are very essential. Uh, and what is also important is to ensure that you keep thinking uh, something which is not uh, not regularly known in your field, as people put it, the out of box thinking. Uh, So you should. That's what I say. When your whole day you keep on thinking about what you want to become, okay, and then pursue towards it. Automatically, newer ideas keep coming, which might not have come to anybody else. And this is very essential. Uh, for example, I do not know whether you have heard of the story long back about a student who is a 12th grade kind of a student. Hmm. He was asked by his teacher, he was given a barometer and asked to measure the height of a 10-storied building. And the student writes all kinds of answers. He says, I will drop from the top of the building and find out the time it has taken to reach the bottom. And from there, I measure, I calculate the height of the building. Or I'll make it as a pendulum. And then from simple harmonic motion, I will try to find out the height of the building, and variety of such answers. Then this teacher asked, there is a conventional answer to this question. I've not given you a stone. I've given you a barometer. Okay, there must be something which is a standard answer for this question. Do you not know this? And then the student answers, I do not want to think conventionally. And that's a great gentleman, as people say. Of course, this story is attributed to a great scientist by name Niels Bohr. All of us are aware of. And what is also important is to not only keep thinking of something which is out of the box, but believe in yourself. That's another very important ingredient when you are pursuing excellence. I'll give you one more story, small story, which is very close to my heart, because it has happened in the field in which I have been working for quite some time, a field called quasi-crystals. All the crystallographers, if some of you have been pursuing crystallography, are people who are in chemistry field and things like that, and you would have known that a crystal is defined as that which has a rotational symmetry and a translational symmetry. This is something which for ages people have defined. And as a result, there are certain rotational symmetries which are considered to be allowed symmetries, and certain symmetries are called forbidden symmetries. Okay, one such symmetry which is considered as forbidden symmetry is a five-fold symmetry. Okay, people generally say for something to be called as a crystal, you can have a two-fold symmetry, three-fold symmetry, four-fold symmetry, and six-fold symmetry, and nothing else. Every other symmetry is considered to be called as a forbidden symmetry. And there is one gentleman in 1982 who was working on some aluminum alloys, and trying to make very strong and light alloys. And he was looking at one alloy called aluminum manganese alloy. And this sample alloy, he found that there are some precipitates in a matrix. And he wanted to know the structure of these precipitates. He went to a transmission electron microscope and put the sample inside a transmission electron microscope, which can be a microscope, and at the same time it is a diffractometer also. That if you can put electron beam on that particular sample, on that particular phase, it can give you the diffraction pattern from that particular phase, and you can know the structure of that particular phase. And when he was getting the diffraction pattern, he suddenly saw a very interesting diffraction pattern, which had a five-fold symmetry in it. And nobody else has seen it before. And he went to his supervisor immediately running, and then his supervisor did not believe it. As usual, because we all go by whatever knowledge that we have so far. And anything new, we don't accept it easily. And he kept on checking it again and again in a number of samples, and every sample started showing that. And he went to his supervisor again and again. And his supervisor one day told him that, you are talking all nonsense. And you are even bringing disgrace to my group. So I want you to leave this group. To that extent, and that gentleman is a great metallurgist by name John Kahn. And this gentleman was doing a postdoc with John Kahn. This gentleman's name is Dan Shetman, and he's from Israel. And this gentleman started calling such a phase as a quasi-crystal, because it is not showing the quality of a crystal, but he believed that because it has a definitive symmetry, it should also be called as a crystal. And so many people opposed him. And finally, when he submitted the paper got rejected very easily, and as anybody can expect. And then he went to some mathematicians and asked him, I am seeing this in front of me, and there should be something inside the material which is making it give that kind of symmetry. Then these mathematicians came forward and say that if your atoms inside your material or the molecules inside the material are not periodically arranged, but quasi-periodically arranged, okay? Quasi-periodicity, for example, if you know Fibonacci sequence, the distance between any two entities is not equal all the time. It increases in a specific manner. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, and if such kind of an arrangement is there in a material, then automatically the diffraction pattern taken from that material would give you a five-fold symmetry, is something mathematically they have proven. And once that was proven mathematically, finally his paper got accepted in 1984, 2 years after he has found. What is more interesting is, and of course, quite a number of people got excited. So many people started working on that field after that paper. And finally, in 2011, this gentleman got a Nobel Prize in chemistry, Dan Shetman. And what is more interesting, which is of importance to us at this point of time, is that a group of researchers from Banaras Hindu University in India in 1978 published a paper. And they did not call it as a quasi-crystal. It was another alloy called aluminum palladium alloy, where they saw exactly a similar five-fold symmetry. But again, there also, though they published this paper, their own head of the department and their own mentor did not believe in this. And he did not allow them to call it as a quasi-crystal. They started calling it as an unknown crystal or something like that. And ultimately, because there was no support that was available strongly, they actually went very slow on that. Until this paper in 1984 of Dan Shetman got published. Then suddenly everybody woke up and said, oh, we have done this 6 years before his paper. We published that paper. But What was missing is that perseverance and believing in yourself. Dan Shetman believed that what he saw was right. And he said, I am not going to leave it until I get everybody convinced about it. Okay. And this is, in fact, long back, Boltzmann wanted everybody to believe that, atoms do exist. But ultimately, he could not convince, and so he committed suicide. And within a few years after that, okay, the whole atomic theory came, and people were all so excited. So what I'm trying to say is that this believing in yourself is very important. When I started my research in 1988, after finishing my master's, of course, as a master's project also, I took up that problem called what is called preparing nanomaterials through a process called high energy ball milling. And everybody around me said, you are doing nonsense. And you are actually doing some kind of what people tried to call it as low quality research. My goal was to demonstrate a crystal can be made into amorphous and understand the whole thermodynamics of it through such kind of high energy ball milling, where you raise the energy of a crystalline material to a higher level. Okay, and this typically people do it in radiation and things like that, but in a route where you can do it much more easily is something that nobody has attempted. But then now I see that a large number of groups within the country have started adopting that particular route as a route to make nanomaterials. And so when I look at these large number of groups, I see really a satisfaction that yes, people start accepting when you pursue something without bothering about what others talk about it. And this is something which is essential in life, and everybody has to understand that and pursue what you think is right. And this is something I think every one of the younger folks who are sitting in this particular audience should remember that. Many a times your guide may not accept what you are saying. Many a times my guide also, I had to convince him that what we are doing is right. And this is something which I think believing in yourself is essential for any good researcher. And that will automatically start bringing out the best out of you. Okay, and that's a feature which somehow I don't see it to a large extent in many of our researchers, because unless somebody outside a white-skinned person proves it, you don't accept that this is something which is feasible. And many of you might have the same idea beforehand, but we don't pursue that until somebody else has demonstrated it. That is the reason why many a times we say that we are always followers, but not leaders. And leaders do not wait for anybody else to give them a tag that you are a leader. No, leaders simply follow what they think is the right thing, and automatically somebody else will accept one day or the other. Okay, so somebody used to ask me this question in the initial days of my getting a Bhatnagar Award in 2007. That how did you prepare yourself for that? I always used to say this, that you don't prepare for awards. Awards are byproducts. Okay, I mean, to the extent that I even go to the extent to say my salary is a byproduct. I've rarely in 27, 28 years or 29 years now, 92 I joined as a faculty at IIT Kharagpur. In these 29 years, very rarely I have seen my payslip. Where I thought there is no need of that. As long as my family is able to sustain well, the salary that government is giving is good enough for the family to sustain. That is good enough. You don't need to bother anything more. But what is important is Are you satisfied with what you are doing? Are you enjoying what you are doing? And that is the most crucial thing. And that is something when you start doing, rest of the things will automatically follow. Okay, you don't even bother about it. In fact, to the extent that every one of those awards that I have got or fellowships that I have got, somebody felt that I am fit for them, and they write to me or call me and say, Murthy, I want you to put your thing. Can you please give me your CV? Exactly the same thing happened even for my Bhatnagar award. There was a great gentleman by name Baldev Raj, who was the director of IGCAR Kalpakam, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research. He somehow felt that I should be. And then I said, are you really sure, Professor? And somehow at IIT Madras, one of the senior most professor, when I approached, he said, I don't think your CV is good for that. So I conveyed this to Dr. Baldev Raj, and Dr. Baldev Raj said, I'm sorry, I don't believe the same way. And just you give your CV to me, forget about rest. And I always did that. Okay, once I give that, I forget about what comes out of it. And then somehow people felt that yes, I'm suitable, and I got it. So this is something which, to the extent that even for IIT Hyderabad directorship, I have never applied. Okay, a committee felt that possibly I am suitable, and they called me. And then I said, okay, if somebody is knocking on your door, there must be a reason. Okay, try to take it up. And that is how I always felt. So these are things that come to you as byproducts. And what is more important is what you enjoy. And if you can start loving what you do. I mean, as I always tell, it is like a romance that an young 20 years old kid, a boy or a girl have. And that is the kind of romance is possible with the field in which you are working, provided you own it up, provided you take it as a passion and thoroughly enjoy what you are doing. And these are certain important points I thought I will share with you. I think we have spent about half an hour, a little more than half an hour. If you have any questions, I thought it would be better to take me rather than keep going along. Otherwise, there is no end to this. I can continue like this forever. But I thought a few thoughts I can share with you on how to prepare yourself. Okay, when you take up, first of all, choosing something which is something that you want to become. uh, and more importantly, whenever you choose that also, do not choose anything which is a low hanging fruit always. I always tell to my students, when you are sending a paper to a journal, start asking you this question to yourself: why can't this paper be sent to the best possible journal in my field? What is lacking there? It is better to wait and work a little more hard and send it to the best possible journal rather than sending to a easy journal and get a paper published. Most of us have this problem of being in a rush. We keep being in a rush and keep publishing into a little lower quality journals and just start looking at in the numbers that we generate. But what is more important, as you grow, people will see how much of a peer recognition you have got. How many people think that you are doing a good work? And this is more important. In fact, at IIT Hyderabad, we are very particular about it. When we make somebody as an associate or a professor, we look at this very carefully. What is the peer recognition that he or she has? And this is something, if you all pursue that, then automatically the best out of you comes out. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, whatever I have heard your lecture. It is really amazing, sir. And in many points, means I believe all these things from the bottom of my heart. So that is why initially, sir, when you started, means frankly speaking, sir, I am in my office, and initially when you started speaking, the papers are around me. So I was looking towards that, but after that means your lecture pulled me from that side to your talk. This is, sir, means very true thing I am telling, sir.
Thank you very much.
So that is it is very means what you have said, na sir. This is what I means. Percentage is basically within 100, but I am trying to tell you that it is 200% means right thing what you have said, sir. I try to
No,
follow
particularly,
this type of path,
thank you.
but
Thank you.
try to follow, sir. But somehow in many issues are there. That is why sometimes
Yeah, there are always difficulties, friends. I do agree. There are so many difficulties that we face. Okay, sometimes the universities pull us to many other things which we want to avoid. But as a part of
we
the
think that
university,
all
sometimes
are managing, so we have to manage also.
life is
And
management. I always feel. Okay,
yeah, sir.
my to be honest with you, my wife is a physically challenged and she is in a
Okay, sir.
wheelchair all through her life. But
Okay.
I thought life is a balance. We need to learn how to balance. And when I go home, I don't carry my office to my home. Okay. Though I have always spent not more than 2 hours or 3 hours at home. My children know this very well.
Very good, sir.
But then, so this switching on, switching off is something that one has
very
to learn.
much required.
Okay.
Sir,
If
from
you
the
can
bottom
learn
of my
that
heart,
life.
sir. Sir, from the bottom of my heart.
That is very important. And teaching is particularly a profession. If you don't like it, let us not join there. Okay, because teaching, it's like a doctor. Okay, if you don't do it well, you are killing somebody. Here you are killing the future of somebody. Okay, I feel people should only passionate people should be in teaching. Okay, I'm very particular.
Definitely.
For example, we have recently started at IIT Hyderabad. Most of us, when we recruit a faculty, we look at his research contribution. Okay, of course, many a times we assume that if somebody is a good researcher, he is also a good teacher. But sometimes it is not always true. Okay, so what we have started doing from last year after I joined here is that we have a half an hour of blackboard talk by the prospective faculty. We tell you choose a topic of your choice, but it should be at the second year BTech or third year BTech level. Okay, and choose a topic of your choice and teach for half an hour. And we all listen to you. And we also ask our PhD students to join and listen, and all the faculty evaluate that person. So we have two evaluations, one for their teaching ability and second for their research ability. And both these ingredients, we take it before the interview and see if the person is fit for a good teacher also. Because all of us in an IIT or even in a Mizoram university or any university, we are supposed to do both. We are supposed to be a good teacher and also a good researcher. Both of them are important. Just being good at one is not sufficient.
And sir, with teaching, I have means this is my personal experience. We can learn much more thing because fact, many times we basically slips the fundamental things earlier.
And both of them feed into each other. If you are a good researcher, you become bring that into your teaching, and your fundamentals that you teach help you in your research. So they feed into each other.
Yes, sir. Exactly. Thank you. So thank you, sir, very much. Means it is so much interesting talk. I cannot express. So, sir, now regarding question in the question and answer session, I am taking up. So here it is. They are giving highly inspirational words, even for teachers. Indeed, how can one remain positive in academics? So this is one question from V Madhurima. How can one remain positive in academics when you feel that you are surrounded by overwhelming negativity?
Very important question, and particularly in this particular last 2 years, there is so much of negativity all around us. Okay, and it's very important to how to be positive. And I mean, I would only say this that you can share with a person what you have. You cannot share with a person what you don't have. Okay, a person who is completely negative or mostly negative can only share negativeness all around. And positive thing is something which is like a contagious thing. Okay, it spreads so fast. It's like a magnet. Many a times you when you talk to a positive person, you feel so happy, so elated, that you feel like going to that person again and again. If you talk to a negative person, you don't want to go to that person second time at all. uh, and that is something which you should learn in your life, that if I am positive, okay, I am not only helping myself but also helping a large population around me. Okay, there will be an aura around a positive person. Okay, that aura is like a magnet which attracts people around me. And this is something which somebody has to always remember. I always say that there are failures. I mean, if somebody says I have never failed in my life, I said you have never learned anything in your life. Okay, because failure is a part of life. This somehow from our childhood, somehow we have been told that we have to always succeed. Okay,
Yeah, failure
this
is
always
more.
being successful is something like a an ideal thing which never happens.
And sir,
Okay, for
failure should
example,
be more.
correct,
And sir,
failures,
failure should be more. Then only we
absolutely.
can learn.
Absolutely. In fact, in my computer, there is a folder of all the failed proposals of mine. Okay. I have put so many proposals to this agency, that agency, which did not succeed. And from every one of these failures, you have learned something. What is important is not to feel bad about the failure, but to find out why did I fail? Okay, and what is the lesson that I can learn from that failure. Every one of us, when you have learned cycling in the beginning, in our childhood, we would have fallen down. Okay, we did not just leave it like that. We again stood up and again started riding the bicycle. And one day we have come to a stage where you don't even hold the handle and you are able to ride a bicycle without holding the hand. And that kind of a perfection we have achieved. And this happens only when you start accepting the failures. Many a times we see people around, particularly in young age. I see this more often in students who join IITs, because they have never failed in their life, and they think that failure cannot happen to me. And the moment they join IIT, until then possibly they are coached by people. In IITs, nobody coaches you. There is no more coaching. Okay, they say that I teach you, and it is for you to disseminate from that and pursue further. And if you simply do not pursue it further, you may lead to a stage where you possibly fail in one course. And the moment you fail in one course, you get depressed, and that becomes a vicious circle. And finally, some of the students even commit suicides. We see this happening once in a while. And that is where I feel, for example, we started at IIT Hyderabad that every teacher takes care of two students, two particularly first year students. I say first semester, if you can tell them what it means by striving for excellence and accepting the failures and learning from the failures. If you don't tell this, because most of us at our age, we know that we have failed a number of times. Okay, but this student who has just completed 12th grade, he was always a topper in his class, and then succeeded in a exam like JEE and entered into. And for him, you have to tell that it is possible that once in a while you may fail, and accept that. Okay, find out why did you fail, and then learn a lesson for your life from that failure. And this, when you do that, automatically somebody has to teach this. Okay, the coaching centers will not teach you this. Okay, and it is for us as a teacher, we should be able to teach. So we have started doing that, and that is helping us a lot. So I hope I have answered partially at least.
Sir, another one question has been asked by Puravinath. How to deal with the research project when it is not giving the result as expected?
Correct. This is the problem, friends. The problem is always we do everything with an expectation. That's the reason why I tell people, by the end of the day, we are actually tired. We are not physically tired. We don't lift heavy weights or like construction workers. Okay, we are tired because we had an expectation from every small experiment that I do. and that leads you to a kind of a stressful state at the end of the day. And people say you need a long hours of sleep. Okay, when you start doing everything, I have learned this over the years, that when I do something, I do it with a lot of focus and with a lot of planning. Many a times possibly our experiments are failing because we are not planning it properly. Okay, I always say any experiment which is well planned is a half results already achieved. And this planning is very important. Choosing the right problem and planning for that problem and then executing is very important. And even if you fail, if you enjoy, as I always tell, the journey is as equally important than the destination. Most of us look at only the destination. We don't enjoy this journey. Okay, the journey of doing the experiment is something that you should enjoy. And then every experiment, whether it is a failure or not, it will teach you something. And accept that lesson that you have learned. And when you accept the lesson that you have learned, then this failure will not be a burden on your head. And as a result, at the end of the day, you are as relaxed as you are in the morning. That's the reason why see that I don't sleep too long, 4 5 hours, but still I feel I'm as fresh as anybody else who sleeps for 8 or 9 hours in a day, because I have never taken the stress of the looking forward to the result. Do the experiment without expecting a result. Okay, result is not in your hand, but doing is it in your hand. Hmm? And this is something that all our scriptures talk about it. If somebody has heard of something called Bhagavad Gita, that also talks about it. But that is something, if you can learn to implement in your life, then life becomes very good. And automatically, many a times you notice that if you are doing a PhD, first 2 or 3 years, everything that you are doing seems to be a failure. Suddenly you come to 4th year or 5th year, anything that you touch seems to be turning into a gold. Why is that happening? By the time you have learned how not to do a mistake. Okay, because you have been doing various mistakes in your first 2 or 3 years, and from those mistakes you have learned now that you start now planning much better, and then start doing an experiment. Then you start seeing that experiments are all successful. Okay, so it all happens only because you have not planned it well. So for planning, reading is important. Reading a lot of good literature is important so that you plan it well. So these are ingredients of learning, and they have to be learned. If you have a good guide, the guide will keep on telling you that I have also failed like this. Do not worry about it. But what is important is, where did you fail? You try to analyze that better. So spend some time on analyzing the failures. If we analyze our failures, we learn a lot of things.
Right, sir. Great, sir.
Okay.
Sir, another one question is there. I think this is the last question. Sir, how to overcome the depression of inability of the task when most my companions can do, before enjoying and loving? How to overcome the depression of inability?
See, inability is in your mind, friends. Okay. I always used to tell to my own wife, okay, who was physically challenged. She has polio on both the legs. Okay, it is our mind which thinks that every one of us is unique. Like every flower is unique. A jasmine is as beautiful as a rose. Okay, there is no point in comparing ourselves with somebody else and saying that he is better than me. I mean, an elephant cannot run like a horse, but what an elephant can do, a horse cannot do. This is exactly what you should all know. Each one of you is unique and you have unique capabilities. Understand what are your capabilities and pursue them so that you can nurture those capabilities much better rather than what you cannot. Maybe you are not good in remembering things. Fine. You may be good in something else. What is that? Identify that. Unfortunately, our way of education is that from our childhood, we don't identify what are the capabilities of individual student and devise a curriculum for each of the students. We have a straight-jacketed curricula, and thanks to new education policy, people are talking about variety of innovative ideas of identifying the curricula. So that is something. So the problem comes when you think you have an inability is because you are comparing yourself with somebody else. Do not do that. Okay, if you stop comparing, you are happy within yourself. So you don't need to be compared. You are unique and pursue what you like most. And then when you like most, I have seen among our own BTech students, when they like something, they are willing to work the whole night. Okay, something new they are doing, let us say, they don't even look at time. And this is exactly, for example, if you have a wonderful novel in your hand, you don't see the time. Whole night you are willing to read that and enjoy it. That's because you like it. And that is something all of you should identify. What is it? It is possible that what your parents have put into you is not what you like. I can give you a small example. One of my close friend's daughter, she wrote NEET exam. All of you possibly know this. NEET is for medical entrance, all India level. It is conducted, and she got 25th rank, all India rank, which is considered to be one of the best ranks. And her mother was very happy that my daughter is going to become a medical doctor. And this girl goes to her mother and tells, "Amma, I have written this exam only for you. Okay, because you wanted me to write this exam. But I don't want to become a doctor. I want to become a biologist. Okay, because I like biology." So she went to ISER Mohali and joined a biology department there. And she's loving it and she's enjoying what she's doing. This is something I think all of you should identify. Maybe at the bachelor level, sometimes your parents have forced you to do something or you are somebody else nearby. But then when you come to a master's level, at least pursue what you want. There are so many examples I see nowadays. One of my classmates, undergraduate classmates, his son got into a good JE rank. He said, "Appa, I want to pursue, I want to become a chef." Okay. And another fellow says, "I want to become a musician. Okay. I don't want to be an IITian. Can you please allow me?" And now people are reasonably, at least upper middle class. Our financial situations are not that bad to say, "No, no, no, you should only pursue this." We started allowing. For example, my son, second son, his particular first fellow said, "I want to become an aerospace engineer," from his 10th grade. And he got a good JE rank in the mains, but not in the advanced. And JE mains can take you to a NIT, not an IIT. But none of the NITs have aerospace engineering as a branch. And I didn't know what to do. Then I said to him, "Can you not join mechanical engineering and pursue aerospace at the master's level?" He said to me, "Papa, both are not the same. I want to pursue aerospace from my bachelor level." Then I searched, there is a university called SRM University in Chennai, which has an aerospace. I put him into this. Now he is pursuing that. His dream is to become a scientist in ISRO. That was his dream. The second fellow says, "I want to become a physics professor." He wrote again JE Advanced, got a good rank. He said, "I do not want to join IIT." And he went and joined ISER Mohali. And he has completed 5 years integrated physics now. He has joined in University of Toulouse in France for pursuing theoretical physics. And he says, "I want to become a professor of theoretical physics." So this is one thing. Now at least we are able to accept this and say, "Yeah, you pursue whatever you want to pursue." And that is something I hope all of us as parents, if we allow our children to pursue what they want to pursue, this kind of comparisons will not come. Because whenever I used to go to ISER Mohali, I used to see this, that they all enjoy what they do because they have chosen the branch they wanted to be in. Okay. Many a times I see at IITs, IIT Madras or so, who joins metallurgy, for example. Metallurgy is not a chosen branch by many. Everybody wants to do electronics, computer science, and things like that. Because they did not get a very high, good rank in JEE, they get into metallurgy. And from the day one, he keeps on cribbing that if I have done slightly better in my JEE, I would be sitting in another class rather than in this class. I tell them that you have two choices. Keep on cribbing for 4 years and get a very poor CGPA and join a software job at the end. Or start thinking what is so great in this particular branch. Okay, who are all the great people who have contributed significantly in this branch and become a great leader in this branch of yourself. As I started, I told every organ of the body is important. Okay, similarly here. For example, from this year at IIT Hyderabad, we have removed what is called branch change. Okay, every IIT students join. First 1 year, they struggle to get a very high CGPA to change to computer science from some other branch, civil engineering or whatever it is. We said, if you want to pursue engineering, you pursue with a passion. Okay, do not pursue that I want to get a highly paid job, salary. If at 17 years of age, if you start thinking of what salary you get at 21, you have already killed yourself. Okay, 17 years of age is the age where you think of transforming the whole world, and that should be the dream. And you should think of becoming a great mechanical engineer, great electronics engineer, great mining engineer, rather than thinking of what salary I get. I feel salary should follow you. Jobs should follow you. You should not follow a job. Okay? And that is something we have started telling to our students. You join, when you join from the day one, you know that I am going to become a mechanical engineer. Let me find out. Okay? How do I become a good mechanical engineer? So that my mind is only on that, not anything else. So we took a bold decision. No other IIT possibly has taken this decision. Okay, and we took this decision, and in spite of this, the most of the very good students have joined. Our JEE rank opening and closing did not get affected at all because of this. And we made this very clear to everybody that at IIT Hyderabad there will be no opportunity for you to change your branch once you join a particular. So these are important things one has to remember. Okay, pursue what you like.
Sir, some more questions have come up. That is, can you compare...
if you don't mind, let me just see my calendar. I can go for 10 more minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Our exams are also, sir, is about to start. But the questions have come up. That is why. And one thing I can tell to our participants that you can, sir is very means.
You can write a mail to me.
So, yeah, you can directly mail to sir.
Yeah, bsm@iith.ac.in is my email ID. You can write a mail to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Such one question is, can we compare scientific research with academic research?
Compare what with academic research? I could not get word. Compare?
Can you compare scientific research with academic research?
See, this is what I have been from the beginning telling you. Don't compare anything with anything else. Okay. These comparisons are all, science has no boundaries. Okay. It is we who create boundaries. Say this is electrical engineering, this is mechanical engineering, this is physics, this is chemistry. The nature does not differentiate things like that. Okay. When you go to the depth of it, when you go to the atomic level, is it a chemistry or is it a physics? What we are talking? How do you know? Okay. There is no boundaries at all. So it is we who start. I feel you can talk about fundamental research and applied research if you want to say. Okay. Fundamental research is equally important to applied research. Applied research is important for the growth of the country as a technological nation. Fundamental research is important to pursue excellence in the basic principles. And in fact, even a company like Intel or Bell Labs pursued fundamental research. All the atomic research, initial research on fission, everything has come through a support with Bell Labs. So even industries, even now, I can see Intel supporting fundamental research and even TCS supporting fundamental research. Okay, and without strong fundamental research, nobody can become a great, applied researcher. So both are equally important. Pursue both in a balanced fashion.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think we should stop now.
Sir, let it be the last question because sir is
Well,
also having the engagement.
Yeah.
So now I will like to request that Dr. Abhijyoti Ghosh to kindly propose the formal vote of thanks to our honorable speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean sir. Actually, I was also listening to Sir Murthy sir, and nowadays means now in this particular period we are going through some stage in our research. So your word surely, as Sudipto sir also told, that motivating us a lot. Means we are getting positive vibes from your talk, and which is very much required for us nowadays.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, sir. We know that means as a director, you are very much busy. So sparing your time with us, inspiring us, and means researcher in the positive research. Thank you very much. I want to thank Professor K.R.S. Sambasiva Rao, respected Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, for inviting such a guest speaker to motivate us. I want to thank Professor L. Lolit Kumar Singh, Dean, School of Engineering and Technology, Professor Sudipto Chattopadhyay, the Department of ECE, Electronics and Communication Engineering, Mizoram University, and all the participants who have present here and attended this particular webinar and heard to a great speaker, great motivational speaker. And I also want to thank our ICT Center for providing the online platform so that we can meet with sir and listen to his words. Thank you very much all, and hope we will meet in a physical platform very soon, and hope we will organize this type of webinar, many more such webinar. Thank you very much all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
sir. To all of you,
before
friends.
the end, sir, may I just, sir, 1 minute. Our honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Rao, sir, if you have any last word.
He is muted. Yeah, he must be busy. He's also a very busy person.
Yes,
so,
sir.
So we will meet again.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much
for your experience, sir. Very interesting thing when you demonstrate the laboratory also.
I did not talk about technical. I will have another talk later on technical. Okay, we will do that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you to all. So we will wind up the meeting. I'll just close it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.